Okay, give us a couple minutes. Yeah, a few people fucking somebody come in here before I start opening my mouth. If not, I'll just start opening my mouth because that's the way that works. Because I'm still gonna say what I want to say. So the topic is, as you see, that's right. I'm in control. I'm the boss. Now, why did I decide to do a live stream about I'm in control and I'm the boss? Because this is the mentality that we see in our society from lots and lots of people. I don't agree with it. I never have agreed with it. I don't believe in other people want to have somebody that's the boss, okay, to be looked down at by other people, other human beings who perceive themselves to be smarter, more intelligent, and better than you. And they're in control. They're the boss. And you must think with their brain. That's right. And they will control you because you've always needed to be told what to do. It's a very sick mentality, but it is an epidemic of portions of its own, man. I'm telling you, it's an epidemic. People may not realize it, but it's actually an epidemic. And it's not a gender issue. No, not at all. You have women who believe they wear the pants in the house. They are in control. And you better do as she says. And then you have men who I'm in control, and you better do as I say. And even in the twoofer community, online doing videos, you get groups of content producers who work together, and then, and I've had this happen more than once in my life. You're doing content online, I even had, and another person is doing content online, and you start working together, and out of nowhere, one person decides they're in control. They are the boss. And they will come to your channel. They will look at something you've made. They will disagree with an opinion you gave on a topic. And they will rip you a new ass. They will attack you. But they claim they're your friend and they claim they're working with you. But they're mad at you because you didn't think with their brain. That's what that comes down to. You didn't think with their brain. It's awful. It's terrible. Oh, I'm sorry. I better apologize. I didn't think with your brain. No, I'm not going to apologize because I didn't think with your brain. No, you're not better than me. No, you're not above me. But our mentality in today's society is who wears the pants in the house? Everybody wants to be the boss of somebody else. Now, of course, I don't mean straight across the board, everybody, but we have high numbers of people with egos. Their egos overinflated and their head is swollen. We have high numbers of people wanting to control other people. Now, I understand, okay, when you got the disabled people, people that are mentally challenged, slow, that somebody needs to be there to look after and take care of some of these people because they can't actually take care of themselves. These are adults that maybe still has a child's brain. And but what I find hilarious is the epic failure of mankind is their ability to grow up. But I'm talking about somebody that's an adult that actually has a legit reason. You know, maybe their parents were alcoholics when they were conceived, and now they were born mentally slow thanks to their parents. Maybe their parents were drug addicts, and they were more born mentally impaired because of their parents. This happens all the time. So these people have an excuse And we need somebody to in control because they could never take care of themselves, okay? But I'm not talking about them people. I'm talking about the average person. The average person who's not mentally slow, okay? That's not mentally slow and not, they're just the average person. They hold down a job, they're able to take care of themselves, and they get together and they get friends, and we always have somebody that wants to be in charge, somebody that claims to be in control. And I've said this before in relationships. When you get together in a relationship, there is no such thing as who wears the pants. Because when you say, I wear the pants in my house, you're calling your partner a slave. And it's not a gender issue. If she says she wears the pants in the house, she's telling you that you're lower than her and she's above you. She's a slave. If she wears the pants in the house, she's calling you a slave. You're the slave. You're her slave. Anymore, there's more females wearing the pants in the house than there is men. Because we have an epidemic of simps. That's right. Simps and vaginas that won't stand up for themselves to a female for fear that they will lose her and they will spend years trying to find another female to be with them. Okay. And because female actually have that much power over men because men gave it to them, because they're simps, vaginas, women know this and they love it. It used to be we had women chasing bad boys. And they wanted the bad boy. And every time you talk to a woman why they chased the bad boy, they gave you their explanation because it was the challenge. It was the challenge to change them. Though, however, if they successfully changed them, they dumped them on their ass. And if they couldn't change them, they still dumped them because it was all a damn game and it wasn't about liking or loving somebody for who they are. Messing up the foundation of a family unit. Exactly. Nowadays, women ain't chasing the bad boy as much as they was before. I'm sure there's still some women chasing bad boys, but the majority have moved over to chasing simps because that's not the challenge no more. Now they want somebody they can control, somebody who will follow their orders. They're looking for the slave. And we do have more women now claiming to wear the pants in the house because they have married their perfect slave, their simp, their vagina, who claims to be a man. No, and he's not a mangina because that would say he's still a man. No, 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 no. You removed the word man because there's nothing manly about the behavior. So don't give him an ego boost and tell him he's just a mangina because there's nothing manly about the behavior. Take the ego boost away and just call him straight out nugina. Simp, weak minded, slave, idiot. Okay. But the reality is we all experience this in our life. Other people who want to be in control of other people. Other people who want to tell you what you can and can't do. And it gets really pathetic online because you even experience it online. And I'm not trying to slam people, but it's a reality. And people with high egos have a tendency of doing this, becoming control freaks. And online, when you get people that are control freaks, this is commonly what happens. You are a content producer, they're a content producer. And sometimes it's somebody that's female or whoever that's not necessarily a content producer, but does a little bit here or there. And they will claim to be your friend, and you'll have video cam chats. You might be on Skype, you might be on Zoom, whatever, and you'll get to know these people. And then you find out that the hard way, of course, that they're a control freak. And once you've gotten established a friendship with them, then they move to the next level and they decide that they need to control you. And you don't know it until you do a video because you're a content producer and you say something they don't agree with. Then they're fired up and pissed off at you because they watched your video and you wasn't allowed to think with your own brain. That's right. You wasn't allowed to your own opinion or your own feeling about something. No, you wasn't allowed that. Okay? I'll give you my most recent examples of this. Even to this day, I have somebody that keeps coming to my live stream saying, "What happened to you and Jerry?" And I, told people already Jerry has an eagle. And Jerry attacked me behind the scenes. Jerry told me straight up he saw TFL. He was awake to NWO. He was awake to what was going on in the world and all the corruption. He's done all this work and fantastic research. And at first, when he heard me talk about TFL and the Manosphere, he thought I was nuts. But then he thought it about a while and he figured it out and seen it. Yep, you're right. This is taking place. This is what he told me. Okay. And at that time, him and I were working together, right? We worked together for a little over a year or more. We did lots of videos together, didn't we? We sure did, right? And none of them were dating scene related, were they? No, they wasn't TFL related. They wasn't dating scene related. And so what happened was he claimed he seen TFL. He understood how it went into NWO, blah, blah, blah. I hadn't done a dating scene topic video in over a year. I decided to go ahead and do some dating scene topics again. And I come up on my channel and I did a dating scene topic video. Upon doing that, I got attacked behind the scenes by Jerry, as he told me that at this time in my life, I was a woman hater. Okay, and I saved his texts that he sent me. I copy and pasted them. I still have them. If anybody says I'm full of shit, I can show you them, but I don't bring them out. But I did save them because I normally save shit when people attack me. So he did. He told me I was a woman hater at this time in my life and that I had mental issues. This was Jerry's words to me upon a dating scene topic video. Okay. Sad. Then he didn't have to apologize. You know why he don't have to apologize? Because Jerry's openly saying I am an asshole. And because I am an asshole, I will attack you even though I'm your friend, and I won't apologize. No, but if he didn't, but the problem I had was this. He clearly said he understood and seen the Manosphere, understood TFL, seen how it was true, understood seeing incel and men going their own way and on and on. And that he's seen all this and he knew that social engineering, NWO, was behind it. And then the first time he's seen a dating scene video from me, the opposite came out of him. He told me it fired him up. Oh, he was so pissed off. How dare me say what I said, which was all truth. But Jerry claimed he was a truther. So he was a truther that was wounded by truth. Sad, because you're not a truther if you're wounded by truth. That's the way I feel about that, okay? I never attacked Jerry. I didn't say he was mentally ill. I didn't tell him he was blah, 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 a woman hater in his life because he spoke up against a woman. He was a typical simp, a typical vagina. A woman can do no wrong. Then we had Matilda. I don't know how many of you people remember Matilda, better known as Rhonda Hampton. Oh God, I said her name, didn't I? Yeah. So Rhonda, she was Matilda. She talked to me too. She came over, watched a video I done, flipped out, got pissed off, attacked me, and blocked me. A month or so later, she unblocked me. She came back, apologized, and then she done it again. And why was she doing that? Well, because she needed to control me. It's like Jerry went to Jason Boss on 153news.net when we were over there, and he proceeded to tell Jason Boss that he was the one in charge. He was the controller. Of course, he did this behind our backs. And so Jason Boss, if he had an issue with Rhonda or me, he had this first time it showed up as he had an issue with Rhonda. Well, he sent Jerry the email and not Rhonda. The issue was with Rhonda. So Jerry goes to Rhonda and says, Jason has blah, blah, blah. And she says, I don't got no email from him. And well, he sent it to me, Jerry says. And she screamed at him and says, I don't need anybody, blah, blah, blah. I can handle my own stuff, right? She was correct. I stood by her on that, right? But then it happened to me. When Jason Boss got mad at me, he went to Jerry. Well, that's not an accident. He had everybody's personal email to their personal accounts. So when he had an issue with the video I made, instead of coming to me, he went to Jerry. Do you understand what took place? Jerry told him he was the boss. That was Jerry's ego. You know, his ego swelled up. And then I nailed Jerry, and Jerry says, I hardly ever talk to him. Hardly ever talk to him. I have hardly any emails from him at all. And I says, okay. And a couple of weeks after he told me that, we were in a conference, and it was me, Jerry, and Rhonda. When Jerry bragged, he's got hundreds of emails from Jason Boss. Well, now, it couldn't be both, could it? You hardly have any emails from him at all, and a couple weeks later, you have hundreds from him. So we have him speaking out both sides of his mouth. This is what ego does for you. And then again, once again, remember, Jerry attacked me because he decided to tell me what I was allowed and not allowed to say in a video. Rhonda attacked me, telling me what I can and cannot say in a video or a live stream. So they were control freaks, right? This is what I call people like this. They have this thing in their head that says they must control the people they're with, their friends. Well, people become friends. Don't try to control other friends. You might ask them to do something like is in the manosphere. Like I see When in Doubt is in here. When I made the statement that if you're going to go in Steve Hoka's live stream remind us the TFL are related, incel TFL topic, you know, Steve Hoka might have 60 people in there. You know they're incel or TFL. You don't go in there and rub salt in the wound. That's if you're going to talk about I got laid. You know, to have respect, to not talk about them topics when you're in that atmosphere, to have respect for these men. This is what, you know, and I don't go back on that. I am blank forward front. I'm in this fight for what's right for everybody. I understand that we have to take the power back away from women, but once we take the power back, if we could ever do it, I would toss the power in the dumpster. Because my goal would be to remove the power from the women, to cause the women to have to back up and think about their behavior so that we could bring the genders back together again. Because the division has been created by the powers to be at the top. And the reason MGTOW was so dangerous to them is because if people would not skew what MGTOW stands for, men going their own way, then they would be walking away from women. Well, the powers to be have a problem with that. They just spent a whole bunch of decades creating the division that divided the genders. If men walked away from women for real in massive numbers, women would have no choice now. They wouldn't be able to pick their next simp. As women started running out of choice and power, you would force women to back up and think. When they couldn't get a guy in their life, they would start backing up and thinking. Yes, they would be pissed at first. Yes, they'd be angry. Yes, there would be depression. But once it struck home, they would realize what they've done. Because the thing is this, we need to be angry at the people at the top who've done this to all of us. Divide and conquer. Division. Divide and conquer. It's not a lie. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's happened over and over throughout society. And why did I seem like I was coming after MGTOW the other day? When in doubt got a little upset with me. Because the facts are the facts that if you're going to call yourself a MGTOWer, then you need to understand what the problem is and be willing to actually be walking away from women. I have a wife in my life right now, but I don't guarantee how long I'll be with her. Okay. That's a whole nother personal story. Don't be surprised if I come up here one day and she's not with me no more. Okay. Because I'm not a vagina or a simp. Okay. I will get rid of her as fast as the door swings in and out. Okay. And this, I myself, I really am. And if I do, I won't be going back with another woman again. No. But to be a man going your own way, you really defeat the purpose of saying I'm a MGTOW when you talk about I'm getting laid. Because the equation is this: if you've walked away from women, this means you're not jumping through the loops to put your dick in a hole. If you're going to jump through the loops and still play the game to put your dick in a hole, then you haven't walked away from women. Okay, do you understand where I'm coming from? You have not walked away from women. I have nothing against you wanting sex. I just understand this. What I want people to understand is this. We did not create the problem that we have in today's society. It was created for us by the people at the top. The same people who are not going to like us trying to get communities of people together. You try to get a good meeting spot for MGTOWers and incels and TFLers to come together and unite, especially if we tried to form a community. The people at the top are going to buck against us and they're going to try to stop us. I already know they will. When MGTOW come out, Barbarossa is the one that gave it that name. And when MGTOW came out, why do you think it went mainstream so quick? Why do you think you've seen MGTOW, standing for men going their own way, suddenly became pump and dump? See, my problem with and this is not the slam, I'm not, it's when in doubt. I'm not slamming when in doubt's original idea at all. Okay? What I'm saying is this. I don't care if he's getting sex, he has children. So he's obviously had a woman in his life because the last time I looked, he could have children if he didn't. Okay? So, but the reality is this. If you're fighting for what's right, and you know the wrongs women are doing unto men, and we need to stop that, but we also need to stop the division because the division was created by the powers to be. Okay? If you was going to a war, you was in war fighting your enemy, would you give your enemy the ammunition to shoot at you with? I guess if you're a complete idiot, you'd hand them information, you'd have them bullets an ammunition to shoot at you with like an idiot would do. Okay? But if you're in a war, why would you give your enemy the ammunition? So if you get with a woman and you lie and manipulate, she wants it to go further. Maybe she wants marriage. Maybe she wants a commitment. You don't want a commitment. You only want sex. If it's two adults that only want sex, hey, I got nothing against that. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Okay. But my point is if you say like pump and dump, which was pushed through MGTOW, send her on her way. Understand, okay, well, look at all the wrong women do to men, and look at how they look at us in ATM, and they're using us, and they're lying to us, and they're this and they're that. You're correct about what you're saying, but it doesn't change the fact that two wrongs don't make a right, and it doesn't change the fact that you would be giving her ammunition to fire back with, and you're keeping the division going. Now, the elite don't mind that at all. The people who have done this to us, they want you to keep that division going. Because through that division, you will never, ever, ever be able to bring the genders ever back together again. That is not my goal. My goal is to remove the power from the women, to put the women in a hard spot where they have to back up and think, to deprogram ourselves, women and men alike, so that we can come back together. And then to rise up and go after the people who have done this to us. Divide and conquer was also the destruction of the family unit and to divide the genders. You better understand that. That's no lie. MRA, men's right activist. Okay? Problem, reaction, solution. Where do you think PUA came from? Problem, reaction, solution. Powers to be created this whole problem from the top straight down. MRA was solution, phony solution. Men's right activists. They told you to call your congressman or senator throughout the years, and you heard Paul Elam say this. You hear Karen Stroud say this, girls' rights what? You hear the people within the MRA movement talking about they're showing all these symptoms, they're showing all this truth, but they're symptoms. They're not the cause. They're symptoms. You think that you're going to go to your congressman or your senator and change the laws. No, you're not. Because they wasn't accidentally placed. They're not going to change the laws. They're going to blow you off. Do you realize there was a 1 million man march? No lie, this happened. A 1 million man march on Washington, D.C. that never even hit the TV set? The only reason it was known is because people went there, pulled out their cell phones or brought a camcorder with them and filmed. Why didn't it hit the TV set? Why was there no media coverage? Because they powers to be did not want people knowing about that march. The corruption is that deep and that high. I want to bring the genders back together again. But I know that we have to first, we're divided. We have to first take the power away. Because nobody wants power. I mean, having power over another human being fits into this. I'm in control. I'm the boss. That's the mentality. We have to lose that mentality, man. I understand there's differences between the genders. I got nothing against that. But at the same token, I don't put my focus on them differences. Nor do I sex. This is how you destroy the foundation of a successful relationship. Is by putting your focus where it should not be. Okay? Creating roles for one another and telling somebody else what they can and can't do. Nobody wants to be told what they can and can't do. I don't know women or men alike that really wants to be told what they're allowed to do. Okay, if we was just talking strictly sex, we have switched dom and submissive, but I'm going a lot deeper than that. We are human beings in an overall aspect. The submissive person is submissive to the person they love. And that could be a man or a girl, a woman. Okay? A dominant person is going to be dominant towards the person they love, could be a man or a woman. It's not a gender issue. The common relationship is that of a switch that they have fed into society. But my point is this: how many friends do you have that you became friends with, the same gender friends, okay? Let's use when in doubt who's in there for an example. How many male friends do you have? I'm not saying you're gay because you're not, so don't never take it that way. But how many male friends do you have that would be your friend when they're telling you what to do? They're going to tell you what you can and can't do and how to think. I don't think that's going to go over too long, and you're not going to be friends because they're busy telling you what to do. You're not going to respect them for that. Well, but see, that's not a gender issue because, see, that across the board is normal for men or women. When you meet somebody, you become a friend with somebody. You didn't become their friend by ordering them around and telling them what to do. Okay? I mean, this is just exactly what I'm talking about. So we need to lose that mentality. We need to look at each other as human beings, regardless of gender. We have to look at each other as human beings, and this is where our focus needs to start, not on the differences. We understand there's differences between men and women. Okay, you already understand this, so why would you want to focus on that? You shouldn't, because this is how you will help the elite and you will help destroy the foundation of that relationship. That's all I'm saying, okay? It's not about trying to do wrong on anybody, it's about trying to stop the division. It's about trying to successfully stop division. We can't even bring the manosphere together because everybody's fighting each other. And it doesn't matter whether you're MGTOW, incel, love shy, you know, it just doesn't matter what name you're calling yourself. When you really look, you see the infighting. Okay? You go over to the truth of community and you look and you see all the infighting. Do you realize that's the reason we're not coming together and nobody's rising up against the very entity who's done this to us? Is because of the behavior. This is what I'm trying to so hard get through to people. Okay? To understand that. Because you've got to understand the root cause and who our real enemy is. And our real enemy isn't each other. Our real enemy isn't women. Women are a product of the programming just like we are. None of us escaped it. The only people who escape that programming are the people who wake up enough to see clearly what's going on and back up and start examining themselves and working on their own selves to change their own behaviors for the better of all. And this is one of the reasons I mentioned about When in Doubt and Mike the MGTOW Monk. If they were going on one of Steve Hoka's live streams or my live stream, and they know there's a room full of TFLers and incel people there, and you want to really help these people, you can't go in there bragging about you got laid and then tell them to rise up. It's about respect. You can go in there and use tools like things they can do to improve their lives. Okay? You can talk about how nobody's treating each other properly and even the opposite gender. You need to stay on point to what you're going to say if you're going to deliver a message to help them. But it's not going to be through how many times you got laid. And I know I piss people off when I talk about The best way to catch somebody who's deceiving people is the honest to God truth is sex. There's nothing wrong with sex, okay? But people that are actually getting sex, it's personal. It always has been private and personal, always. And they just don't go around bragging that they're eating pussy, putting their dick in a hole. That's not normal behavior. That behavior comes from somebody who's trying to fit in. That behavior is actually a weakness. Because if you have to push that message to fit in because you're worried about what somebody else might think of you, then you've already lost, because now you're caring about somebody else might think that I don't care what people think about me. Do you understand that? I care about what's right and wrong. I care about how we treat each other. I'm trying to stop division and not cause division. It's not about shaming tactics, it's about reality. It's about don't give women a weapon against you if you're trying to rise up and pull the power away from them. Don't play into it. Two wrongs don't make a right. That's all I'm saying. Okay? I'm not hardcore about abstracting no personal responsibility. Personal responsibility starts from within yourself. It doesn't start within dictating somebody else. And MGTOW doesn't mean walk away from women. Yes, it does. That's exactly what the powers to be pushed. That's exactly what they wanted, was you to skew the meaning. And that's exactly what you do. Men going their own way was, from the very beginning, to walk away from women. The powers to be could not have that, because that's the one tool that would have overturned the years and years of social engineering and brought the men and women back together again. So when in doubt says MGTOW doesn't mean walk away from women, that is what the elite want you to believe. Congratulations, sucker. Congratulations, fool. You will continue the division, continue the elite's agenda, and not even know you are. You could never fix a thing because you're going with the very tool that they want you to go with that will keep us always divided. Divide and conquer. Hate to say that to you, but it is the truth. Whether you like me for telling you the truth, I don't care. That is the very wrong statement from When in Doubt himself. This is why it went mainstream. Because the powers to be feared that if men took it seriously and did it for real, it would cause an awakening. And it would have. It is the answer. It is the tool that would bring the men and women back together again, but it can never happen unless men walk away from the women first. They don't want you walking away from the women long enough for the women to wake up and bring the genders back together again. Because they know if that happened, that we would rise up against them and go after them. They don't want that. So they had to haul ass and put it mainstream media and bring their agents in and promote pump and dump. And promote get even with the women and do them wrong. They're doing you wrong, so do them wrong. Which keeps the division alive, keeps the globalists' agenda alive and healthy. So if you go with what When in Doubt just wrote, you just lost. terribly lost. You couldn't fight back if you tried. The division stays alive. Divide and conquer wins. History replays itself and you lose. It's as simple as that. I'm sorry that you don't understand where I'm coming from, but that's because you don't understand what's really going on. You think you understand when you don't. If you understood what's really going on, then you would understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. There's a reason my channels have been taken down and my views are constantly censored. There's a reason I had feds at my door and lost a job for my videos. And it wasn't dating scene topics that they came after me for. It's the fact they know that I know that I understand what's taken place in society and why they've done what they've done. When you think divide and conquer is a conspiracy theory, you're a fool who's done no homework, that hasn't looked into a damn thing, or you're a coward who don't want to see it and is turning your head and looking the other way. There's a reason history keeps replaying itself. Because of this mentality right here. Do you think the people in Nazi Germany didn't do what you're doing? You're damn right they did. They turned their head and looked the other way. They were too scared. What did it get them? Exactly what it's going to get you. There's only one way to stop the corruption between the genders. It's to start treating each other properly. There's only one way that that's ever going to happen, is you have to strip the power away from the women. And unfortunately, the only way you're ever going to get the women to see through what's happened was if massive numbers of men would actually take MGTOW seriously. If they would take it seriously and walk away from the women. I'm not talking about forever. And if you're afraid, well, I ain't going to get my dick in a hole, I want you to tell me one funeral you went to where a person died from lack of. Please now. Show me a funeral, somebody who died from lack of. It just don't happen. The only way to fix this is to walk away from women for real. And it has to be for a time enough to get the women's attention. Then, and only then, will people start understanding what took place and actually open their eyes and look. And once that happens, then the men and women come back together again. And then once people actually see what's really going on, then they can be angry at the real enemy instead of each other. And they can rise up and go after their real enemy. These people get their power from scaring the shit out of us and us listening. They know full well what they was doing when Barbarossa from MRA came up with men going their own way. So was you around when Barbarossa done that? I'll guarantee you probably wasn't. Well, guess what? I was. You know, and it's sad because nobody wants to take it seriously, you know. They want to go with what the powers to be done. They took MGTOW mainstream so they could manipulate the meaning. And it worked. Look at When in Doubt. Men going their own way doesn't mean walk away from women. Yes, it does. Otherwise, you can just forget ever saying men going their own way. Because you didn't go your own way from nothing. You're not going your own way. You're continuing the division. Congratulations, elite. You pulled the blanket over their eyes, and the dummies fell for it. Then you wonder why I say what I say. See, so when in doubt, I hate to tell you this, you haven't done your homework. You don't understand what's really taking place in society. And you're trying to fight a war without even knowing what's going on, let alone who your real enemy is. You're not using critical thinking skills or common sense. You have to stop the division. We cannot stop the division through continuously attacking one another. You cannot correct the woman's behavior by continuing to do the very things that corrupted her. You're not going to get her to give up her power. Never. There's only one way to get her to see it, and that's to take the power away from her. Now, you preach about taking that power away from her, but you're trying to put that power back onto the man. You're trying to keep division alive. You're trying to enslave, and you don't even know you are. Seriously, you don't even know you are. You think you're doing the right thing when you're actually doing what the elite want you to do. Personal responsibility is great, but you cannot have personal responsibility unless you really know what took place. If you want personal responsibility on a personal level, everybody needs to take responsibility, and everybody needs to back up and examine their own behaviors and be willing to deprogram themselves from wrong behaviors. Now, that's taking personal responsibility. And if you're not going to do that because you're going to tell yourself, well, there ain't nothing wrong with me, while you're pushing the elite's agenda, history replays itself because of dumbness, people's failure to grow up and understand. I cannot help those who's not willing to help themselves. My goal is to bring the genders back together again. My goal is to get people to see through what's really taking place. You have a right to be angry at what's taking place, but you need to be angry at the right people. Being angry at the women isn't the answer. Being angry at the family court system, no fault divorce isn't the answer, because it wasn't accidentally done. No, it was deliberately done. Thinking you're going to call your congressman or senator to change the laws is a joke, because they're not going to change them because they didn't accidentally make them. Okay, and I don't know what else to tell you. The whole problem from the very get-go is it's all been socially engineered deliberately to break down the family unit and divide the genders to the fullest. And they've done a damn good job. Understanding how to bring the genders back together again isn't going to be easy. But the only way you're going to do it is to force the gender who has the power to lose that power by walking away from them. When you walk away from them for real, they lose their power. Once you've made them lose their power from walking away from them, they will. It's going to take a little while. May take a couple years, may take 5 years. But once enough men do it, and it's going to have to be on a massive scale, once enough men do it, and do it for real, the women will back up and think. They will be angry, they will be depressed, but they will also back up and think, and then they will realize the stuff I'm telling you. And so will you, because then you'll start seeing it. then you become angry. Women become angry, but they don't become angry at the men. And the men don't become angry at the women. They become angry at the source of the problem, where it come from. And men and women come back together again and not divided. And now we're treating each other the way we're supposed to be treating each other. And we're going after the people who've done this to us. And that is my whole goal. And if you can't understand that, then I can't help you any. If you're going to say that I'm being hardcore, abstracting personal responsibility, and that men going their own way doesn't mean going their own way, you've lost your mind there. You don't know what you're talking about. You have no research behind you. Okay? You don't understand what's really going on. So you're trying to fight your enemy when you don't even know who your enemy is. You don't even know what your enemy's up to. Exactly, the American dream. And unfortunately, until you wake up and smell the roses and realize what's really going on, you can't fight your enemy when you don't know who they are. Them are correct statements that's actually truth. And I've just spoke the truth, hardcore truth in this live stream. And I know that when in doubt has now went quiet. Okay, I can't help him any. When in doubt, I don't dislike you. I don't hate you. I also don't blame you for not knowing. Okay, what I know, it's not your fault. But you really need to pay attention to what I'm telling you because I didn't lie to you. And you need to understand that men going their own way does mean going their own way, not doesn't. That's mainstream media. Who runs and controls mainstream media? The military industrial complex. Eisenhower warned you. He told you that you had to look out for the military industrial complex. You want to think it's a conspiracy theory. You want to believe it's a tinfoil wearing hat nut job so that they can get their way. Unfortunately, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's the hardcore truth right in your face. And they told you they were going to tell you what they were going to do. Then they were going to do it. And that we would do nothing about it. And that's exactly what they've done. You know, women back up the government because they married the government thanks to social engineering. To take the power away from the women, MGTOW was the answer, men going their own way. But men had to take it seriously. And they had to take it seriously and use the meaning for what the meaning exactly was. That's why the military industrial complex received its orders and the media suddenly ran with MGTOW. Shortly after, Barbarossa came up with the idea. Because men walking away from women was the answer. Because it is the only way that you're ever going to get people to wake up and see what really took place. And that would have messed up centuries, decades and decades of social engineering that the globalists put into dividing us. Because it would have caused an awakening of men really done it. That's the reason they ran with it. That's the reason mainstream media run with it. That's the reason MGTOW became pump and dump. That's the reason, was to destroy it so that men didn't do it. And it worked because the dummies fell for it. What can I say? Now the only thing I can say is you're still living that American dream. You haven't woke up. You cannot beat this war. You cannot fight this war because you don't know who your enemy is. You don't even understand their agenda of what they've done this for. I've told you in this live stream exactly what took place. You can either shoot the messenger and die from stupidity, or you can open your eyes and go look. Because it is the equivalence of you being on the 30th floor and me coming up there letting you know the 15th floor is engulfed in flames, get the hell out of the building, and you turning your back and calling me names, attacking me, and me leaving. And an hour later, you're jumping out a window or hanging out a window screaming for help and falling to your death. Because history is going to replay itself and there's going to be lots of people dying if you don't take your heads out of your you know what. And to bring the genders back together again, there's only one way to accomplish it. Okay, really, it's that far gone. And if putting your dick in that hole means that much to you that you're not willing to sacrifice that long enough to get the women to wake up and take the power away from them, you're not going to take the power away from women ever. Ever. Because it was given to them for divide and conquer. You can only take that power back by not going along with the agenda. And to really walk away from women, giving them no choice, taking their power from them. Once you really walk away from women in massive numbers, that's exactly what will happen. Women ain't going to want you to walk away like that. They're going to fight you, rebel it. But that's what it's going to take. Then you throw that power in the dumpster because believe me, you won't have to stay apart forever. The message will be gone. The message will be gotten. And then we'll be able to come back together again. But until that time, forget it. If you think you're doing it any other way, you've already lost. Because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what war you're fighting. You don't know the first thing that you're doing. Right now, what I see is you running with mainstream narrative on MGTOW. And that's sad. Because it means you fell for the lie. Sad. I'm out of here, guys.